The View from the Bay starts now.
Thank you. You have young children, and I have grown-up children, and we both love this topic. We're talking about raising joyful kids, following some very basic ideas. You can help your child build healthy social connections and a foundation of happiness. Joining us now is the author of Raising Happiness, 10 Simple Steps for More Joyful Kids and Happier Parents. She's also a sociologist and happiness expert at UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center. Welcome back, Dr. Christine Carter. Good to see you again.
Nice to be here.
Good to have a happiness expert.
I was going to say, how do you get that job? Yeah, it's a pretty good job.
Now, we all want to raise more joyful kids. What's the starting point? What's the first thing, fundamental thing a parent needs to think about?
Well, I think the first thing to think about is that happiness is not actually best thought of as an innate personality trait, but rather a skill set that we can teach our kids and practice with them. So, of course, genetics have something to do with it, but more than that, it's just a series of beliefs and habits and skills that parents can teach their kids.
Can you model those as a parent?
Yes, you can model them. I tried to fill my book with lots of science-based, very simple things to teach kids. Now, a really great place to start, you already mentioned, is helping them foster strong social ties or strong social connections.
Which I think maybe you'd think of maybe a play date.
Right.
But that's about as far as most of us go.
Well, you know, think a little bit broader. If we've learned anything in 50 years worth of happiness research, it's that a person's happiness is best predicted by their social ties, the strength of their social ties. Right. So it's not just their childhood friendships necessarily, although those are incredibly important. It's also their connections in their neighborhood, their school community, feeling a part of something larger and feeling those ties.
We're transplants. We don't have really any family here in the Bay Area. What do you do if you don't have that sort of built-in village of your family around?
Well, think of who you want your village to be. Start there. So maybe you have a church community that you can plug into, or your kid's natural preschool community or school community, or just your neighborhood alone. And try and think in an old-fashioned way. So is there a little old lady who lives around the corner who needs visitors? Even though we're really busy, how can you get your kids to walk down there and visit her?
It helps them feel philanthropic too. I think,
Right. It helps them feel there's a real power that comes with that kind of kindness. So thinking about imagining for yourself who you want your village to be and then finding ways to make it happen.
Okay, so now you've got the village and you're starting to foster those social connections, which are really vital. Now you talk about raising the kids' emotional intelligence.
It is. Well, if you think about what the foundation of our friendships and our social connections are, it's really all about our social skills and our emotional intelligence, or sometimes I say emotional literacy. And that is really our ability to interpret what other people mean, you know, what they're feeling, what we're feeling, how to understand our emotions, and how to respond appropriately to them. So the higher our emotional intelligence or literacy is, the more likely we are to have a lot of friends, to have strong friendships. So this is another one of those things that parents can really help raise their kids' emotional intelligence. I often recommend doing it through becoming an emotion coach. So,
an emotion coach?
Yes, a whole chapter on how to become an emotion coach.
Give me one example of how to coach an emotion.
Right, so the thing that you really want to do is help kids know what it is they're feeling. You want to help them label their feelings first and then validate their feelings second. So when you think about literacy, if you're teaching your kid to read, you want to teach them to recognize high-frequency words. Right. So with raising their emotional literacy, you want to teach them to recognize high-frequency emotions. So kids don't naturally know whether they're feeling, they know they're feeling bad. They don't know that they're feeling jealousy or frustration or all those rage, those kinds of things. So you just want to help them understand what they're feeling and then validate it so that they come to understand the difference between having a bad feeling and having bad behavior.
All right, well, that's what I want to talk to you about. My kids are 9 and 6, and you talk about rage. They have rage directed at each other. All the time. We were just going to drive down to Menlo Park this weekend, and we just couldn't even go. We were like, if you guys are going to do this in the backseat of the car, we don't know what to do. Just fighting all the time.
Okay. So if you're going to emotion coach them, so there's two things here. There's the emotion coaching. So if you have a kid who's very rageful or is about to fly into a big temper tantrum, what you want to do, so I have written a lot about one of my daughters is very emotive, and she can be a little dramatic. And so she was so angry with me because I was making her clean up her room before she went on a play date, and it was just a whole disaster. You know? And so she walks in the door and she opens the door and it bangs against the thing and leaves a mark and throws her backpack, and I'm thinking, oh no. Molly, you seem really angry right now. So I'm identifying how she's feeling. Now, because we've been doing this for a long time, she looks at me and goes, I am furious. I am furious with you. So she's taking it one step. She's taking it one step further, and I said, you know what, do you feel small because I'm kind of controlling your afternoon here? Because I've learned that she uses these big, powerful emotions when she feels like she's being controlled. Right. And that is what did it. She said, yes, I feel very small, you know? And I'm also frustrated, you know? So then we were able to talk about it. Now, some kids you can't necessarily, in the heat of the moment, coach them in that way. You have to stop and give them time to calm down, because
you have to calm down too.
Yeah, we do too.
Yes, well, that's the thing. It's distinguishing in your own mind the difference between bad feelings and bad behavior. So I can say it's totally okay to feel furious with me. It's not okay to throw your backpack.
So let's take this now outside the home. Let's say you recognize that your kid is unhappy at school, okay? Maybe your kid's being picked on or something like that. Now, that'll suck all the joy out of a kid. So what should a parent do in that situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think actually the unhappy at school thing is a very, very common one. In fact, about 60,000 kids every day fear going to school because they're afraid of being picked on. So this is something that can really snowball for kids and make parents so miserable because they just feel so, you feel so helpless. Sure. You do. So what we want to do is, there are a lot of different ways to approach the situation, but one we've already talked about, you know, trying to raise the kids' social skills, build their village so that they feel like they really have social support at school. So talking to school administrators, teachers, talking to friends, parents, so that your kid's village is there when they get to school, that they have, it's not just the situation that's making them miserable, you're filling the rest of the day with things they're excited to learn, activities that are very positive for them, so you're filling their day with positive experiences, positive emotions.